Welcome to the service clinic at Low Country Harley-Davidson. I'm Doc Harley. Had a great visitor come by from Jacksonville, Florida, Craig, and we were talking about things that I've done on the videos and any suggestions. And he came up with a fantastic suggestion that I wanted to include in this video. A lot of you are first-time Harley owners, and a lot of you are jumping into maintaining your motorcycle, as in changing the oil. And every drain plug on a Harley-Davidson has a magnet. And Craig said, hey, why don't you tell them what is normal and what is not to be seen on these magnetic plugs? So let me show you. Here we have a gentleman that just got back from Daytona, had a fantastic time, wants to change his oils, get ready for the spring and doing the winter maintenance. All right, so here is the oil, main oil, engine oil, drain plug. Really clean. He changes his oil every 5,000 miles. Next plug I'm going to show you is the primary. There's just a little bit of fuzz, just a tiny bit on the magnet. And then the last one is the transmission. And it has barely any little fuzz, but just a tiny bit, okay? So these are normal. This is what you should find on your motorcycle if you change your motorcycle oils every 5,000 miles. But let me give you another examples here, okay? Here's a primary plug we did this week, and it has a lot of gray material on it. Now, I'm not overly anxious about this because this gentleman changes oil every 20,000 miles. All right, so that's a lot of accumulation. And you might ask, why, Doc? Why is there accumulation? These are the components inside the primary. You have your clutch that has steel plates in it, and they're constantly wearing, again, when you're on and off, all right? Then you have the components of the gears on the primary for the primary chain, and then you have the starter gear, all right? And the starter gear is constantly being banged by the starter, trying to start it up, all right? And then the main component of a lot of material is the compensator. This compensator loses a little bit of metal here and here, and on the sides here, because this is constantly taking up the pulses from the motor onto the transmission. And then, of course, we also have the spring pack that's behind it. And if you can see the shiny little edge here, that's rubbing on the rotor. And, of course, every spring against each other is showing a little bit of wear. So all this is wearing. Now, yes, I agree there is oil in this, and that's its job, to keep the metal away from each other, but it's constantly going on itself, and it is the reason why we change the oil often. Go to 20,000 miles, well, now the oil is having a hard time doing the job it's supposed to do in keeping these metals away from each other. Let's move a little bit to the left here. Here's a Harley-Davidson 6-speed transmission. This is the reason why we have a little metal on the drain plug of a transmission, because Harley-Davidson has a constant mesh transmission. That means every gear is constantly turning with each other, and then we have the shifter forks, which are metal, that ride in these grooves, and of course the oil keeps them riding in there very smoothly. But if you don't change your oil often, maybe 20 or 40,000 miles, okay, then the oil loses its lubrication, and then this starts rubbing and starts wearing faster, and we get the little metal shavings and possibly a replacement of the forks. So there is always metal trying to touch each other, and the oil is doing its best to keep them lubricated and together. So there might be just a little bit more metal, a little bit of the gray matter on the magnet, but not a lot. All right, we're not looking. What we are not looking for is a tooth from the transmission. All right, that's the time to say, okay, it's time to put everything back together again and bring it to the dealer. Last thing to show you. Here's a normal drain plug of an oil change this week. Here is not normal. This is a catastrophe. The cam bearing went bad on a twin cam. Took out the lifter, took out the cam, took out the motor. We're waiting for the long block to show up so we can put together a motor for this gentleman. All these big shavings. When you see this, this is the time to put the plug back in your motorcycle, put the motorcycle on the trailer, and bring it to your dealer. This is more than normal. I'm not trying to scare you. I just want to explain why there is just a little bit of metal on your plugs, hopefully not in your motor plug, but the transmission and primary, it's very normal, all right? But it's the big pieces we don't ever want to see. Hope this helps. Thank you very much for the suggestion, and I take all suggestions very seriously, and we'll try to get them onto a video for you in the future. I'm Doc Harley. We'll see you next week.